Hello everyone, and I wanted to move the conversation away from, a lot of this effort in, it's not emotions. It's like the offense, defense conversation, which I talk about quite often, which is the game of entrepreneurship that drives a business to succeed or fail. However, how do you do some work, physical work, versus just sitting there talking? So this is like meat and potatoes conversation. I'm not sure how long it's gonna last, like the conversation on it, because it's really not that hard. Gary Vee has the 68, I don't even know how many he says. I think he says 68. I think I could do, well, I'd say that I could do 200 pieces of content. I have done 200 TikTok videos in a day. I think I've done 200 TikTok videos in a day. Plus, I can't remember if I did other content in association too, but it's very exhausting. And so let's focus on doing 200 pieces of TikTok video a day. And I did it, I think I did it 2 or 3 days in a row. You actually go crazy. You can go mentally ill, except I'm extremely intelligent. So let's break this down on what I did. The first, I don't give a shit what you think about those videos, because I'm already getting some shade on what you thought as I made two. That's the crazy part, is where you want to start. Is this is the part right here when you have an intention. You have not, the key in not caring what people think is you have a education in some particular science or subject. For example, I have an education in waiting tables, periodontal treatments or dental care, x-ray technology, traveling in states. Like these are science-based facts that you can tangibly see with your eyes. You can see a mountain called Pikes Peak, and I've like climbed that mountain. Most people don't even start. They get stopped before they even start. That's your first step. So you make a video and then you delete it without even posting it. Or you post it and then you immediately delete it. And that feeling that you get when you post the video or even make the video, the unspoken energy in the ether is what holds you back. But I remind you that we're talking fact-based businesses. It's called building a relationship with air, as in space, as in there's no one watching you, but everyone's watching you. Because you now have entered into the den of lion shitholes. 99.99% of people will not support you, so you have to know that it's a journey by yourself. I don't give a shit if your mom and dad or your sister, your brother, or your wife or your girlfriend or whatever. You want to know that this is a single journey by yourself. Because if you go viral and you actually have to educate people on this subject that you're speaking to, then you better be prepared to actually be able to talk about it. That's why you do not want to be able to go viral overnight. You want to slowly grow so that you can evolve yourself as a successful business person. And it really is jarring to the nerves to go viral overnight. You actually will end up in a crazy house. You'll ruin your relationship with your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, your niece, your nephew, your kids, your spouse. You'll ruin all your relationships if you go viral overnight. And worst of all, you'll lose who you are, and you'll end up like a robot working on an ASMR microphone where you don't know what to say or do. And that's because you went viral overnight and you were greedy and you were gluttonous and you lost sight of God. So to start an online presence, whether you have a business or not, it's it's really scary. So you have the time factor, the fear factor, and you have the money factor. You're not going to be able to pay for the ability to be seen, right? You're not going to be able to pay the $1 million information. And, you know, honestly, if you have a job and you're sustaining the lifestyle, or you have a spouse that can sustain the lifestyle, and you really believe in the subject matter, then you should consider not working and let the spouse take over. But you also have to pay attention to finding the balance in being a contributor, because resentment gets caused when you're not contributing financially. So that's your key idea or key thought if you are in a relationship not working. That's why they trash talk conversation of doing weekend yard sales would be a great conversation if you were a husband to a woman you want to continue to work. Because you have to set goals for yourself. You also want to remember, if you're a man, there's going to be women chasing you if you're charming, attractive, and even if you're ugly. If you're charming and you give them the attention that their husband or friends aren't giving them, they're going to be attracted to you. So you got to figure out how to deal with that energy. And that's the problem with the internet right now, is everyone's trying to hook up with everyone without actually hooking up with everyone. And then you got women like Motivan who are showing off their tits and ass as if that's normal behavior, with no one telling them to don't do that, because they think that's bringing brand value. That's mental illness. That's called brothel behavior. Then as a woman, you're going to encounter Middle Easterns. You're going to encounter nasty men. You'll create a video of yourself dancing, not erotically, just for fun. And you'll see a man pop in your scene of the part in the bottom where it shows who's watching. And you'll want to puke your guts out just because you saw his face. Because all the women on there are trying to create and teach these men how to be fucking perverts. Because you're a normal person, but over there, she's got her infant on her titty, and the infant's suckling milk to eat. And then a man's in the comment section saying, I wish I could be next. And if you think that they're inclusive, but not inclusive to Motivan. They'll skip her content and go to yours because she's got money and a protection batch of people keeping that shit off her platform. That's because no one has respect for each other. So the concern is that no one cares about anyone anymore. That's the real concern. And so the balance between figuring out how to create content that brings value is in the listening. But like for me, I've been creating content for nobody for the last 6 years. Well, at some point I used to make content specifically for Gary Vaynerchuk, in association and along, like kind of in the lines of what he was creating. However, there was never any results. There were no results. So then I just started creating content to educate thin air on what I know to be true. Because in my mind, this is what I think, is that somebody in the youth generation, even if we go into communism, will find my content because there's so much content. And then that'll set a trajectory, even if I'm dead, that the information will get to the right person so that they can try to do something to stop these people. So I've done the thing where I tag all kinds of people in the thing, and nothing ever changed. Nothing ever shifted except for more hurt, more abuse, which is the path of this online presence building. The problem with most of you is, like, I have my meltdowns, I have them on camera for myself, because I always told myself that I wasn't gonna let the comment section define how I was gonna behave. I'm not gonna let you tell me how to live my life. That's for fucking sure, especially when I know more than you. 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 I know you've got major issues. I know you need to see a therapist. I know you need fucking mental help. I know you're mentally ill. I know you are a bot. And figuring all that out is in the form of knowing who you are as a person. So I always would, and I still do this, remember my life prior to COVID. While I was happy living in Colorado or living in the earlier years of my youth, of my 20s. See, most of these 20-somethings don't have that memory because they've ruined their lives by going viral overnight. So when you make 200 TikToks, and some of them were a minute long, and some of them made no sense. Some of them were, the whole goal was just to make 200 TikToks. I didn't care what they were about. Although I think they were actually pretty entertaining. I actually am kind of sitting in that feeling of what it feels like to be 200 videos at the same day, viral, and it doesn't feel comfortable. That's one of the reasons why Biden has dementia. That's why Kamala Harris is sexually frustrated and is psychopath, because she doesn't know how to handle online, and actually we're going to see some crazy behavior with what's his face, that dude Walls or whatever the hell his name is. Sometimes you'll see Donald Trump, you think he's going on a tangent, but that's not really him going on a tangent. That's him talking to let you know real shit. Like, he's really good at this. This is another thing to get you aware of his skill as a president. So when they talk about him and they tell you that he is like they're trying to convince you that he's senile and shit, that's a fucking lie. I think Scott Baio even said that he was rambling. No, that's not what he's doing. That's called being part of a TikTok blast and still being able to generate real information for those in the audience that need to hear what he has to say. So Scott Baio works off a script because he's an actor. I'm not saying he does that when he's in Fox, but I definitely believe that he has the questions and has an idea of what he's going to speak to. But Donald Trump has the ability to show you what it looks like for him to be off the cuff, conversating with you like you're real people. And that's important in this election, because all of these people is Kamala Harris saying the same thing over and over again. That's repetition to brainwash people. That's called robot. Another uncover and discovery as to why she's doing what she's doing. The same thing over and over is like the mantra. We don't want anyone producing content who is not mentally stable. And just because you yell and scream does not mean you're unstable, by the way. So when you produce 200 pieces of content, you have to have a stable heart, a stable mind, a stable body, and have to be up for the challenge, because it's a challenge. I don't even think Gary Vaynerchuk has ever produced that many pieces of content in a day. I think he's never produced, he's gone live in a 12-hour period like myself, but he's never produced 12, 10. I'm just saying. I don't see what you all think that that's competition, although it is personal competition between him and myself. However, he's 68 pieces. He's only 68 pieces. I did 200 plus pieces a day. So what does that tell you? That something's wrong with the system. This is another thing that I wanted to tell y'all. This is all education. Hello? The other part I wanted to tell you is that when 0 people are watching, it's your training. These people didn't do any training. They just think that they're going to show up and people are going to like them. That's bullshit. That's not how it works. People get resentful. They get jealous. They don't trust you. They don't see results because you sound and you are kind of like gimmicky, or you sound weak, or you sound like you don't know what you're talking about, because you're still learning how to conversate in front of groups and specifically online. So I don't know if I would actually I don't know if I would actually do a 200 TikTok creation. That's not easy. I actually would say one piece of content a day to start. And then after like at least 4 weeks, increase to something. Like you got to have like a little specific plan made for yourself. Now the clan is going to be attacking you whether they are watching your content or not. That means that energy of whatever topic you're talking about is going to be the circuit of frequency that you're going to be operating in. So I and Gary actually do the same thing, but Gary and I are in all legs of information. So, you know, he's got the wine, he's got the business, he's got Hollywood now, he's got VeeFriends. He always talks about fitness, but I think that's an opener for something else. So he's got hands in all these different, he's got actually more than this, but this is just a basis. And so he's working in a lot of frequencies, and there's a lot of different kinds of frequency of people that are coming into his platform, which makes sense for him because he's educated in people. And it's not easy to do it like this. So most of you really want to have 3 things and no more to operate. And some of you might just operate in 1, because that's good too. So now we're moving into 1. Now you're figuring out a tribe. But being in a tribe can create a cult. So that means you have to be careful when you are working in one arena of that, because a tribe can actually turn against itself when the wrong people start joining the tribe. And so that's the concern, and that's why it's important to have real leaders on the internet, which would be grounded individuals of both female and male, with professionalism, kind of like the old days of professionalism. So let me see if I can bring in Office. My voice is kind of annoying me right now. So I actually would always be in a very annoyed mood when I would walk into the dental office. And it just became a normal experience for me to live. Although this doesn't feel like what it would feel like. It'd be like, I don't know, it's been a long time since I've worked in dental. Let me pretend like you all are here at the dental office, because that's really kind of what you want your online business to kind of be like, but people don't know how to do this. Okay. Good morning. I'm here. What's the schedule look like? Is that person coming in at 10 o'clock that I really don't want to see? Looks like it. Adrian, will you take this patient? I really don't want to see this person. And she'd say no. And then she'd be rude as shit. And then we get in a fight. And then I'd say, quit being such a biatch. And I'd say it really mean. And then her and I would fight for like an hour, if that. And then we'd be like, what do you want to do for lunch? And then we'd be back to work. Back to normal. Anyway, that was like the old day of business, but that's not how businesses operate anymore because of influencers. because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So actually 99% of influencers make our lives a living hell, and it all stems from LA. So we're kind of digressing, but you're like kind of boring in your content. And that's why the boring people need to keep their content short until you can grow it in length. And you always want people to give you negative feedback. You always want to crave the negative. Well, what don't you like about it? He doesn't like the perio maintenance. Oh, so you want to do 145 videos and then be done with it. Okay, well then you need to do that subject and then move on to another subject. It's painful. Well, no shit. And then you need to go back to the 45 videos that you made and do perio maintenance on it. What is a perio maintenance? A perio maintenance is after the deep cleaning, which is the 45 videos, you revisit the topic and say, here's a 15-minute video reminder. And then you slowly grow from that. And the goal is for you to educate other people so that they can create their own content on top of your content while they do their own research and add in experience, where you have a plethora of people who are talking the same conversation in science. Not looks. I don't give a shit about looks. But everything has to do with personality. Right now, I'm not acting like myself. I'm acting like somebody else. Because this isn't how I would do actually none of my videos is actually who I really am. It's really fucking annoying. It's because I'm always on the defense, I think. I think that's what it is. Besides, you all try to rob me of that shit, so I have to actually be on the defense. Okay, moving on. So now we're back in the 200 TikTok realm. So you could take that 200 number and challenge yourself and drop it down to 68. Pick 3 topics and then say how many videos and on what platforms are you going to do each topic on each platform. You can, let's just say we're going to do Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, because that's actually where I kind of started with Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, even though Twitter blocked me again. TikTok. Okay, so we're dividing it up. We're going to do 8 TikToks, 2, 4, and we'll do 20 tweets, 20 Facebooks, and 20 Instagrams. So that's super fucking easy. It's really fucking easy. It's really fucking easy. You could even count Instagram as a 1 post with 5 pictures if you wanted to tell a story. How do you get to where it's so fucking easy? You just post random shit. So you put too much thought into your shit. That's why you're not creative. That's why this is so fucking exhausting. I don't think 2 shits about what I post. I just fucking post the shit. I'm like, and I actually, let me rephrase this, because you don't want to just post your shit in the toilet. You want to post things that get you curious, or like I could post this, and I'm like, well, shit, this has hair all over it, and so now I got a story associated to this thing. And then what I could do is I could actually take the hose and I could clean it off, and then I could make a TikTok. This is how much dog hair I'm always dealing with because of Hazel's hair. Another story. What do you do when you have a dog that sheds all the time and you could tell a story on a TikTok? And then you could, I honestly don't really recommend, you notice that I don't talk about the dogs. I just let them roam around because they don't like this shit. So it's not fair to have your dog as the source of your content. It's not fair. They're there to support you while you do it. And then you kind of, there might be a dog, like Ellie. You can see Ellie, the little dog that comes to visit sometimes. She has a different mindset than the other two that I have. And she's coming to visit at the end of the month, just to warn everybody. She blocks me from being... You'll see. She's a very intelligent being, an intelligent dog. Anyway, there's a tribe of them out there. See, she's blocking me from creating content. Anyway, you'll see when you start looking at perspectives in a different way, what kind of content is productive. It could be watching someone else's content and then making 10 tweets off of your thoughts. And it could, I do like shotgun tweets. You've seen me tweet. Sometimes I lay in bed and I just tweet out things that I'm thinking or want to show you. So this might be something you want to show somebody. Always practical. Never trying to instigate. I'm an investigator. I'm an undercover agent. That's what I always tell myself. Undercover agent, like I am a dental hygienist. And a dental hygienist is always under investigation. As in looking at your mouth under, and that's why you feel so weird when you're in there. You think we're trying to call you out on, this is not, with influencers, I'm trying to call you out. With content, with dental, I'm investigating your teeth to help you. So it's like taking a look at every crook and cranny in your mouth to see if there's any calculus on the distal of number 14 so you don't die of a heart attack. So that's the same thing that I do with people's content in a new kind of way. That's using the work that I've done in my yoga practice. So this is personal experience, as well as the self and professional courses that I've taken, as well as the CEs I've taken with dental, as well as my work with dental, as well as the wealthy individuals that I've worked with. And I have a huge resume out there. So I actually went out there and worked in the world to get this. And I didn't just all of a sudden one day started thinking like this. It evolves because I put in the work. And that means it becomes interesting to people to look at. Not to mention I'm a good person. And I assume there are results because Gary Vee's made $91 million off of me. And he went into Hollywood. So I'm assuming that my one person that I chose to be an educator for is actually thriving off my shit. And the fact that Donald Trump is successful in his campaigning is also telling me that I'm successful, because he was the other person that I chose to assist in winning this election so that I could feel free again and get my liberties back. I have no feeling around J.D. Vance taking the role as vice president except for gratitude, because I told y'all I didn't really want to do it, but I had to hold the space for it until the right person came along. Because I have children. And I plan on being a mediator between him and other countries and all those things. And with J.D. Vance around, I don't have to go to everything. I can even Zoom call it. I can even watch it. I can even watch it post. They can film it and then I can watch it later and I could be in the moment while they're in the thing, while hanging out with the kids. Maybe not hanging out with the kids. It's a little complicated. Long story short, when all those 68 pieces of content go out onto the internet, you can either crash and burn or you can hold the course, stay the course. That means you got to be strong in conviction of what you decided to put out. Some of your shit isn't going to land with people the way you want it to, which actually all of it won't. None of it will. None of it will. So you'll have to know that everybody's not going to like your shit. And that's what most people can't live with. And then they create personalities like Mona Van. She's fucking crazy. Actually, what we're seeing is an evolution of what crazy looks like for someone who is not capable of being an influencer. Actually, that just came to me because she's only showing you hair and makeup and money. But that's who she was in the beginning. And it evolved into what it is today, which is now maliciousness and the villain. And she can't sustain the volume of content, of amount of people, but that was her dream. Can you understand that? So everything she says is a crock of shit. Just like Danica Patrick. When you're happy doing what you love, you're just naturally going to have happiness around you. That's not how it fucking works. When you are a dental hygienist and you like the work, but you don't like the people, it's a whole nother fucking ballgame. That's a carbon copy conversation of something that doesn't bring any value to an audience. It's like sickening. But these are the people that are in the forefront of our faces to where you want to act like a fucking twit. Meaning you don't actually say anything unique. So the only thing you can do is look like a carbon copy and sound like a carbon copy. And then you get hired. And every business is unique. Motivate's choking me. That's something else that comes about. Danica was choking me too. That's something else that comes from this shit. When you get viral, weird shit starts to happen. They don't tell you about it. It's nasty. Their mind is... It's nasty and they don't tell you about it. It's nasty and they don't tell you about it. And when you don't have a president like Donald Trump in office, it's way, way worse. So it baffles my brain how these people are supporting Kamala Harris. It's crazy. These bitches are fucking crazy. I think part of the thing that happens is they have been controlling these people, the ones who don't want to be a part of it, by getting them to submit into submission, by forcing them into movie roles, forcing them into brand deals, marriage deals. And if they don't do those things, they experience the pain. And the women like Mona Van are the ones that are controlling it. Like that nasty leg, right? Who's the cake over the top. The icing. I think I'm going to puke again. It's like periodontal disease on blast. And then the government's involved because the government wants to control the millions of people. And so this information is important to have on record for your life, but you're doing this for the future of the children. And it's important for the globe. And it's dangerous. You could actually get killed in this day and age, where we are now. Actually, at any point, I would say. So people don't really understand. They just think they're famous. And you're like that Haley Hocktall girl, her life is fucking over. Because she's not intelligent. Neither is Dixie and Charlie D'Amelio bitches. They are fucking evil as shit too. They are the lid. And they're talentless. And so they've already stepped out of the spotlight where no one's really interested in them. But Shu Chu, if he doesn't give them views, they will violently attack him. They created that version of existing because they were only 12 and 14 when they went viral. And the parents didn't put a lid on their asses and spank their bitch asses to a pulp to put them back in line. And then they have this little personality where they're like this. I'm so sweet. And then old men thought they were hot. And I'm not talking about Gary Vee. He was investigating their asses. What do you do with so much hate? Well, people hate you because you're fucking ugly and annoying. And that's to know the difference between someone who's ugly and fucking annoying and someone who's just getting abused. See, the ideal way to live in this existence of, it's not about a tribe, by the way, because I feel like I can be in any community by being myself. I'm actually right now, I feel like I am myself, having a conversation with somebody over there. I'm assuming that I'm currently in there's someone watching my phone or some shit. So I must be in the room of the thing, where the thing and the thing. And so I'm talking to someone in particular. Right now I'm talking to Gary. And right now I forgot what I was going to say. And that's something else that comes along with this shit. So dementia is more likely. Illness is more likely. The stiff person's disease is an example of celebrities who can't handle that kind of fame. And then what else? Then you're taking a look at the fact that the borders are open. This is where we are now. And that there is no controlled environment. So that means people from Palestine and Russia, and these people don't think like you, are looking at your shit. And that's a whole nother level of manipulation of brain, your own brain. And so then I always go to Putin and Xi, so that's where it needs to stop. They need to decide what their people are going to see, and that's fair. Because these influencers are trying to start wars. We need controlled environments, but not controlled like what's happening in China that I saw in that video is because those people are mentally ill. I saw babies being abused by people, which is why they need to do the arm thing. And everyone in the, it's proof because Coldplay had a bracelet that blinks at the concert. And I didn't get that bracelet, by the way. Thank God. And then Taylor Swift had him at her concert. And then now Kamala Harris is trying to put him at her rallies, which tells us that they're using brainwashing tactics to get people to vote for those pieces of shit. You know how dangerous that shit is? They are so dangerous. This ain't no fucking joke either. They are fucking dangerous. Back to what I was telling you about the Hollywood. So government controls the tip tops, which would be like Bill Gates. But Bill Gates controls government. So it's like an exchange of money, of control. I want money, so I'm going to do what you ask, and I'll sell out the people so that Pelosi can have a new $4,000, $10,000 refrigerator. That's the way her mind thinks. That's how crazy she is. So you really want to take a look at how they're not capable of running things. However, they brainwash people in that feelings matter more than policy, but they focus on policy, but they brainwashed you into feelings, and there's no practical behavior. And I was gonna say practicality, but the it part is the part I don't like. Practical, be practical. Use your brain. The media was violently abusive to Donald Trump. And all of this stuff has everything to do with the 200 pieces of TikTok and the 68 pieces of content and the tribe that you participate in and the length of your content that you make. Because you would feel safer if you had a political system in place that actually protected you, because you don't actually want to go viral into other countries. Understand that part, and you'll really understand how you're not up to the par of entrepreneur. Maybe eventually, but like 10 years from now. And it's not control, because if you're going to talk about control, you're speaking on people's emotions. There should be CE requirements. There should be tier classes, like TIER classes that you have to take to stay up to speed on politics, behavior specialists, that kind of thing. So we're creating jobs, and then regulate those people. And regulation would be logics and science and testing and expectations of their behavior. So there would actually be a whole nother crew who would be logic staff. And all of it would be based off a couple things like my content, Donald Trump. This isn't control. Because as a dental hygienist, I have to get CEs every 2 years. If that's the case in this CE thing that we're doing online, then you're going to tell me that those CEs for the dental, then that's control. So basically it would be a board. BOARD. Because this is a whole new, they don't have any, there's no regulations and there's no fear for anyone to get in trouble. Except for the small content creators that they don't like, and then they get them banned, which is how my content has gotten banned a couple times. That's fucked up. That means we don't live in a free country. And I'm talking, I live in America, not the world. I don't own the world. I don't control the world. I don't live in Russia or China or Germany. I live in America. And so people like Bella Dolan and all these other hoes that are traveling the whole globe, they're trying to be, no, they're not trying to be Americans. They don't want to be Americans anymore. Well, then get the fuck out of here. You're not going to take my freedoms away by giving that shit to Kamala Harris. Why the fuck do you think Kim Kardashian wants Kamala Harris? Because Kamala Harris is going to let that bitch do whatever the fuck she wants. While she has sweatshops in other countries. And then they're not going to say anything about it. So who's protecting the people from the American who's Armenian named Kim Kardashian? So it's a global concern, your conversation around making your own business. So this ain't no just, well, make content. I'm only 22, just make content. Sorry, R-A-P-E-R, raper, you're not going to make content. Aiden Ross raped me for 15 minutes with a group Klansman. And that's another thing that you have to worry about. Because I ain't taking your shit no more. You're going to handle your own shit. Monovan, you're going to experience the seduction that you're putting on other people. It's not going to come to me. It's going to go to you. Whatever you put out is what you receive in return. See, they all tried to pinpoint all this shit on me, so they dumped all their problems on me. So they wanted a free ride with never ever owning up to their own shit by getting a flip, which isn't even what a flip is. No, it's not. You made that shit up in your fucking head. A flip gets the education that we need to show us who you actually are. And if you have to go into suppression for short periods of time to relax into who you actually are, to expose you, then that's exactly what a flip is. Because take a look at what Monovan's content actually offers. So now you're just living in delusion. See, you don't understand energy from country to country either. People in Iran kind of vibrate like this. So I shared a video, and I have to go because I'm at 43 minutes. I shared a video of when that Iranian leader was assassinated by I don't know who he was assassinated by. And there was a huge riot in the streets of Iran, and it looked like a horror show. And that energy is what radiates through Iranians on a regular basis. And that's what radiates through Monovan on a regular basis, because she's Iranian and she lives in Iran mindset. Yet what she's trying to do is she's trying to live an Iranian mindset by being an American at the same time. Which means that she turns her back on American culture and brings that erratic experience all over content. all over 45 million people, while she calls herself a Shah. So she lives in peace, and then she delivers to you that erratic experience. That's called mental illness, because we don't live in Iran. We live in America. You are not American. So you never inclusively, you exclude those people. Gary's an American. She's not American. She is a Persian. She's an Iranian. Iranian the country, Persian is like the culture. And all they represent is greed, gluttony, and lust. So I hope you enjoy this. I might actually have this play at 3 o'clock when her shit is going, because it'll make her really feel uncomfortable. I think that'll be great. Let's do that. Okay, so that's that.